Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel Amit Physiotherapy Classes. I hope all of you are getting benefited through my lectures. So in this video, I am going to explain you about patellofemoral joint. In my previous video, I have explained about knee joint and we have discussed many things in the knee joint such as ligaments of the knee joint, capsules of the knee joint, bursa of the knee joint, kinetics and kinematics of the knee joint. So today we are going to discuss about part 5, patellofemoral joint. So let's start. In the knee joint, this was our knee joint which I have already explained. You can watch my previous videos on Amit Physiotherapy Classes where you will get the link of knee joint complex. Now coming to the patellofemoral joint, as you can see here, this is the patella bone, which is a triangular bone, and the bone is located in front of the lower end of the femur. Okay, lower end of the femur. This is our lower end of the femur, and this is the front view, and this is our side view, lateral view from the medial side. So from the medial side, the fibula is not visible here in this diagram. In this diagram, it is front view, so we can see the fibula. Now, coming to the next lateral view diagram, as we can see here, the groove is there. Here one groove is there which is located in between the condyles of medial and lateral condyle of femur, which will be termed as patellar groove. Okay, right now in this diagram, the knee joint is in extension. So we can say that during extension, the patella is located in front of the femur in femoral sulcus. In the femoral sulcus, this area will be known as femoral sulcus. But inside we can see here somewhat the femoral groove is there or patellar groove is there, where the patella is going to be located during full flexion of the knee. When the knee is going for full flexion, the patella will be coming down and it will be located in the femopatellar groove. So let's start with patellofemoral joint. First point, it is embedded within the quadriceps muscle. It is located inside the quadriceps muscle, which is going to support the patella. As we have seen in the previous lecture also, this is the patella bone. If we see on the top side, we have a quadriceps tendon, and the down we have our patellar tendon, which is going to be inserted on the tibial tuberosity. Okay, next point about the patella. It is a flat triangular shaped patella bone. Okay, next point. It is the largest sesamoid bone in the body. Next, the patella is an inverted triangle with its apex directed inferiorly. If you can see in this diagram what I have drawn roughly here, this is our triangular sesamoid bone, largest, okay, sesamoid bone. If you see here, it is like inverted triangle. This is the triangle how we draw. So it is the inverted triangle here, and this part is known as apex. This is known as apex, and this part is known as our base. Next, important point. The patella is going to function as an anatomical pulley. It is going to function as a anatomical pulley for the quadriceps muscle. Already this we have seen how the anatomical pulley is going to be worked, means how the patella is going to behave as a anatomical pulley. This already I have explained in my previous lectures. Now coming to the articular surfaces, means where we can see the articulation between the patella and the femur. Okay, so first already we have seen that patella is going to be the largest triangular shaped sesamoid bone. Second, the posterior surface of patella has a vertical ridge. Here in this diagram, if you see the patella, okay, this is the posterior surface, posterior surface of the patella. This is the vertical ridge, okay, the vertical ridge which is coming from top to bottom, which is going to divide the patella into two parts. That is, one is medial part and another is your lateral part. So due to this vertical ridge, the posterior surface of patella can be divided into medial and lateral. This side is medial and here we are showing the lateral part. Okay, same thing is written. Posterior surface of patella has a vertical ridge that divides it into medial and lateral patellar facet. Next point. The second vertical ridge on medial facet separates a small area called odd facet. Okay, so here what they are saying, one more vertical ridge is present, but on which side? On the medial side. So as we know, this is our medial side. Okay, this is our medial side. So this is our another second vertical ridge. Okay, first vertical ridge is present exactly in the center, which is going to divide patella posterior surface into the lateral and into the medial. Next, there is one more vertical surface coming from top to down. Okay, vertical ridge, which is going to present on the medial side, and the area which is going to be separated by this vertical ridge is known as our odd facet. Okay, this is known as our odd facet. This is very important 2 marks question under the university exams. They will ask what is odd facet. So we can answer. We will see that in another slide. Next, this surface is covered with hyaline cartilage and the surfaces are covered with hyaline cartilage. Next, coming to the femur, because the patella is going to articulate with the femur. So let's know about femur also. Femur, intercondylar groove on anterior surface of inferior end. Already I have shown in you in the image previously that if this is the femur bone, okay, so this will be the our intercondylar groove where the patella is going to be located when the femur is going for full flexion, when the knee joint is going for flexion, and when it is in extension, the patella will be hanging in front of the knee joint, okay, in front of the femur bone around the femoral sulcus. So if 2 marks question comes, what is odd facet? You can write most patella also have a second vertical ridge towards where? Towards the medial border that is going to separate the medial facet from an extreme medial edge known as odd facet of patella. So as we know, this is our vertical ridge. This is our vertical ridge which divides the patella posterior surface into lateral and medial. One more vertical ridge is present on the medial side, on the extreme medial side, which is going to divide the patella into the one of the odd facet, okay, from the medial facet. So this is known as our odd facet. Next, about the femur. In this diagram, 2 patches you can see here. One is the dark pink color, okay, this is the dark pink color, and this is the light pink color. Now, this dark pink color is going to represent the articulation which is going to be happening with the femur and the tibia. Okay, and this light pink color is showing the articulation which is going to take place with the patella and the femur. Okay, so this one is your femoral sulcus here. This is the inferior view of the lower part of the femur. Okay, and this is our medial condyle. This side is we are having the lateral condyle. So as same thing what I told, the patellar surface light pink is separated from the tibial articular, means this is the patellar surface. The light pink color which is showing, that is the patellar surface, and the dark shaded pink color is our tibial articular surface. Now one important thing here, the lateral lip of the patellar surface is larger than the medial lip of the patellar surface. You can see in this diagram here, this lip, medial lip, where the patella is going to articulate is smaller on the medial side, but lateral side where the patella is going to articulate is larger. It shows that the patella posterior surface is mostly going to articulate on the lateral side compared to the medial side. The patella is attached to the tibial tuberosity by patellar tendon. This we already know. Next, given the shape of the articular surface and the fact that patella has much smaller articular surface area than its femoral counterpart, which makes the patellofemoral joint one of the most incongruent joint in the body. Now what does it mean here? As we all know, the shape of the articular surface of the patella and femur and we know the patella articular surface is very smaller as compared to the articular surface of the femoral part. So due to this, the patellofemoral joint becomes one of the most incongruent joint. Means it is like it is not going to be too much reliable joint in the body. If you are going to get a outward force, means like any injury this around the knee joint, then this is the joint which will be easily subluxation, means easily subluxated or dislocated. So let's discuss about patellofemoral joint congruence. As we know, the patellofemoral joint is least congruent joint of the body. Okay, so there is the one term which is known as ratio of insole and salvity. Ratio of insole and salvity. This is again a 2 marks question for university examination. So what is ratio of insole and salvity? It is the length of the tendon. Ratio means ratio of the length of the tendon to the length of the patella. So we can say it is the ratio of the length of the patellar tendon, okay, to the maximum length of the patella. And normally the value is 1:1 ratio. So if anyone asks you what is the normal value for insole and salvity, the ratio of insole and salvity, so answer should be 1:1. Okay, so you need to remember the length of the patellar tendon to the length of the patella bone. Okay. Now, what abnormality can be seen if this ratio is going to differ? So, if the length of the tendon, means if the length of the patellar tendon is going to increase, what will happen? Patella is going to position high on the femoral sulcus, and that condition will be termed as our patella alta, due to which what will happen, there will be the chances of instability. That time the dislocation or subluxation will be on the higher side. So how the ratio of insole and salvity is calculated, just let's see via a diagram. Here you can see in the lateral view of the X-ray image, the B diagram is represented as the patella. The B is represented as patella, and the green one is going to represent it, the A part is going to represent it as the length of the patellar tendon. So we can say the ratio done by measuring the patellar tendon length, that is the A, okay, to the length of the patella, and this length of the patella we should take from where, the distance between the superior and inferior pole. Okay, so that is known as our ratio of insole and salvity. IS is insole and salvity. Now how we can measure this ratio? Is measured with the knee when it is flexed around 30 degree. Why? To provide the right tension on the patellar tendon for its measurement, and it can be commonly measured by knee X-ray from the lateral view or by MRI in sagittal plane. So via one more diagram, this is the normal one, another is the condition patella alta, and one more condition is patella baja. We will discuss one by one. In normal circumstances, this is our femur bone. Okay, this is our femur, and here down we are having the tibia, and this is our patella bone here. Now down this is our here known as patellar tendon, PT we can write. Up we are having a quadriceps tendon. Okay, and this is our patella. Now in normal circumstances, what is going to happen here? The patella is going to be in front of the femoral sulcus. Okay, patella is present in front of the femoral sulcus when the knee is in extended position. When the ratio is 1:1, when the ratio of insole and salvity is 1:1, means the length of the patellar tendon is 1, for example, is 1, and the length of the patella bone is 1, means both are equal. But now if the length of the patellar tendon is increased, okay, if the length of patellar tendon is increased, what will happen? The patella is going to be located little bit higher on the from the femoral sulcus. You can see here the length of the patellar tendon is increased due to some reason, okay, due to which the patella will move up. above the femoral sulcus, that condition is known as patella alta. And if the length of the tendon is less compared to the length of the patella bone will come down below the femoral sulcus, and that condition is known as patella baja. So we can term, if the ratio is not 1:1, and what is going to happen if the length of the patellar tendon is going to increase, the length of the patellar tendon is going to increase, the patella bone will be located on the upper side, that is known as patella alta. Now what is patella baja? When the length of the patellar tendon is going to decrease. So what will happen? The patella will slide down below the femoral sulcus, and condition is termed as patella baja. So now in patellofemoral joint congruence, let us discuss further. As we know, during the full extended knee, when our knee is in full extension, the patella lies on the femoral sulcus. Okay. Next point. Because the patella has not yet entered the intercondylar groove, due to which the joint congruency in this position is minimal, and which is going to suggest that there is a great potential for patellar instability. Now what does it mean? As what was the first point? When our knee is in extension position, the patella is located on the femoral sulcus. Okay, there is something known as patellar groove. See, there is something known as patellar groove. This is the patellar groove. Okay, and we can assume like here is the sulcus. So when the knee is in extension, like this is the tibia, and just assume this is the patella bone. So when our knee is in extension, this patella lies in the femoral sulcus, and as we know, during extension, the patella is not going to be fitted in the intercondylar groove, because it will go into intercondylar groove during full flexion. So now due to which the patella is not well supported. Okay, it is not well supported. It is just hanging in between the quadriceps tendon. It is just hanging in between the quadriceps tendon and patellar tendon, due to which it makes it like greater potential for patellar instability. And as we know, the femoral sulcus are less developed. The femoral sulcus are less developed surface as compared to intercondylar groove. So, stability of patella is affected by vertical position of patella in the femoral sulcus, because the superior aspect of femoral sulcus is less developed than the inferior aspect. Now let's discuss about the contact between the patella and the femur. Okay, as soon as we do our knee flexion and extension, till where the patella, or we can say the posterior surface of patella is going to come in contact with the femur at around which range of motion, and which part or which surfaces of the posterior part of patella is going to come in contact with the femur. Let's start one by one. So first, when the patella sits in the femoral sulcus in the extended knee, when our knee is in extension position and patella is located in the femoral sulcus, during this time, only the inferior pole of patella is making contact with the femur. Keep in mind, when our knee joint is in extension, only which part of patella is going to come in contact with the femur? Inferior pole of the patella. Inferior pole, again I will show you, if this is a triangular bone. Okay, so this is our inferior pole of the patella. Now next, as the knee flexion begins, okay, as the knee begins to flex, the patella slides down the femur. Okay, what is happening? Because during knee extension, the patella is in the femoral sulcus. As soon as knee starts doing flexion, as soon as the, like this is the femur, here we are having the patella bone, this is the tibia. As soon as it goes to flexion, the patella will also slide down to go inside the groove. Okay, so during this time, from this time to till entering the groove, it increases the surface contact area, means more area of patella is going to come in contact with the femur, because during extension what is happening? Only inferior pole of patella is in contact. So we can say First consistent contact between the patella and femur occurs along the inferior margin. As we know, inferior margin of both medial and lateral facet of patella, and we can say at around which degree? Around 10 to 20 degree of knee flexion. As flexion progress, what happens? The contact area increases, okay, and shifts from initial inferior location on the patella to a more superior position. Now, if you consider this is a patella, okay, this was the inferior surface. Now the contact is coming little bit on the superior side as the knee flexion is progressing, okay. So as the contact area shifts superiorly along the posterior aspect of the patella, it also spreads outward to cover the medial and lateral facet. Means it will cover this parts also, medial and lateral also. Means this part also will come in contact with the femur. Let's see this via a diagram. So as you can see the two diagrams here. We will discuss first with this diagram. This, for example, this is the A and this is the B diagram. In this A diagram, this is the posterior part of patella. Okay, this is the posterior part of the patella. This is our medial side. This is our lateral side. And remember one thing, this is the vertical ridge. This is the vertical ridge which is going to divide the patellar posterior surface into medial and lateral part. One more vertical ridge comes on the medial side, which makes one separate area which is known as odd facet, okay. So now, as soon as our knee flexion started, okay, initially around 10 to 20 degree, only the inferior pole of the patella is in contact with the femur. As soon as flexion progress, what happens? The contact area is shifting in upward direction and it came here. Okay, during this time, the more lateral part and somewhat medial facet of posterior surface of patella is coming in contact with the femur. Okay, now as much as knee flexion will progress and it will reach around 90 degree of flexion, what will happen? During that time, the contact of the posterior surface of patella will be on the superior most side. Okay, so this is what is going to happen. During around 20 degree of knee flexion, only inferior pole is in contact. Around 45 degree, there is now contact between little bit on the superior side, and around 90 degree, the superior most part of the patella is in contact with the femur. So we can say by 90 degree of knee flexion, all portions of the patella have experienced some contact. As you have seen in the previous image, till by 90 degree, all the portion has experienced some contact except odd facet, But this also will come in contact when? As flexion continues beyond 90 degree, now beyond 90 degree, the area of contact begins to migrate inferiorly. Okay, as we are going more than 90 degree, as we know around 135 degree is the flexion range of knee. So we are going after 90 degree, means around 95, 100. That time what happens? Again the contact surface begins to migrate inferior. It started from down to up. Now after 90 degree, what is happening? It is again going to start to come down. During this time, the smaller odd facet makes the contact with the medial femoral condyle for the first time. This is the time when the odd facet is going to come in contact with the medial femoral condyle, and at full flexion, the patella is lodged in the intercondylar groove during full flexion, and during this time the contact is on the lateral and odd facets with the medial facet completely out of the contact. Okay, let's see this via diagram. So here if we see the B diagram, A is already done. Now moving towards beyond 90 degree of range of motion. Here you can see here they are showing 135, means when the knee flexion is almost completed. Here it was 20, 45 and 90. So what happened till 90 degree? When we reach till 90 degree of knee flexion, almost you can see almost all the surfaces of patella came in contact with the femur. Okay, posterior surface of patella. but odd facet didn't came in contact. You can see this part. But after 90 degree, the contact area started to move downward, in downward direction, okay, inferiorly. That time the odd facet came in contact with the femur bone, okay, medial condyle of the femur, medial condyle of the femur. And when the knee reaches the 135 degree of flexion, that is the time when the patella posterior surface goes inside the intercondylar groove. And that time what happens, the most of the contact is on the lateral side and on the odd facet only. There is no contact on the medial facet except odd facet. So this is how the patella, we can study here, that how patella posterior surface comes in contact with the femur during flexion and extension. Thank you so much for listening.